Okay, so we got our fingers and our arms. So now there's a little bit of cleanup to do here. I want to parent this right here, these shoulders. This is actually going to be parented to the shoulder because I want these kind of move in tandem with this. So basically what I'm going to do is select that one and parent the child. So now basically whenever we move our controller here, these controllers will follow, but we also need to parent these controllers down to the shoulder here. So not to the head, to the shoulders. I like to do, you could do it to the head, but I don't know why you would do that. So parent that one, parent that one, cool. So now basically whenever you move this thing up and down, your whole rig moves with everything. If you wanted to move it independently, you could. And the shoulders don't look bad. Moving on that pivot right there. So this is kind of a little added on. Sometimes you can make these like aim constraints to separate, especially when you're doing the head. This right here basically is a controller I've made for the eyes, because say if you've got like a little bit more detail with your character, like this one originally had eyebrows and I had states for the eyebrows and everything, but I also had eye controllers to, in other words, give it a little bit more character, I guess. And what it is these two objects are actually floating separately attached to the head. It's kind of parented to the head. They're actually constrained to look at this controller. So whichever way this controller goes, they're going to point a certain way using the aim constraint up here. Like you're going to, it basically will set your eye. If you look at my my eyes right there, they're parented to the head controller, and then basically they have a constraint for the eye controller. And I like to do that because like if I was going to make him bend down, eye constraint is basically parented to this controller here, so it follows suit with that. But if I wanted to tilt him up a little bit like this, now my eye controller is over here, and it will kind of give a little bit of character there if you want to kind of move him there, so you can kind of animate his eyes around. Say you want to give him a little bit of twist here. Well, that's gonna, or the head's a twist. Chugging kind of slowly. It's just fun to do that. You can do that if you want to. Basically, I don't have my guys separated, the controller here, but you can do that. Just separate these two objects in the geometry. You would need to uncombine everything, and then it would be kind of putting it back together, or you could just delete these eyeballs out once you separate and just make some new ones on there. But the aim constraint is a pretty awesome way of creating like an eye controller. So we'll kind of move on from here though. But it's pretty simple, and basically what you would do is link this aim constraint to your main root controller, because you want it to follow your robot, but it wouldn't be constrained to like the head, so you can kind of get creative on how you want it. What I have the hyper shader. I have these things textured, these eyeballs here, to always point towards this right here. Kind of get used to that. Just create a controller and create another object and put the constraint on it, so you can kind of get used to how that works. So, but for this guy right here, we need to do a little bit of cleanup on him. The thing's looking pretty good over here, but there's some things I need to get rid of. Like, I don't want this thing to scale or anything. I don't want you to be able to do that. So the only way I'm going to want this actually joint to move is on the rotation. So I'm going to actually start locking stuff up. Lock and hide selected. I'm going to do that for all of these basically right here, because I don't want you to be able to move these like this. I don't really see a point of ever wanting to do that. So the only kind of movement you'll really need is the rotation. So, and for this side, just only thing I am making visible is basically my rotation. So that way when an animator selects it, the only thing he'll be able to do is rotate it. This is kind of the same. I don't really want that. It's just going to cause problems, especially if I had it textured. So I'm going to select these two. Control spline 3. Why is my translate? I've got something on it. That's weird. I never set it back to. Lock and hide selected. Now this one is one that I will need my translate on, because I will need to be able to move him in this direction like this, plus my rotation. I'm not going to need a scale on it or visibility. These two objects will never need to rotate. I'll just need to translate on these. So lock and hide selected. I'll never need to translate on these things right here. I do know that. Or the visibility or the scale. I'll only need rotation for those things. These I will need rotation, and I will also need translate to be able to move the foot around. But I won't need scale or anything like that, so let me get rid of that. Well, it's looking pretty good. Only like certain things are coming. The IKs, I'm going to be able to hide those things here. You won't be able to select those at all. You can get in trouble messing with those things. Save them out now. Nice, so we've attached the rig and everything. So there's a few more things, and I think I'll do that in one last video, and go ahead and start binding the skin to him and kind of checking the painting of the weights and everything like that. So yeah, so that's kind of the cleaning up all the controllers. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you too. These controllers right here in the drawing, where's it at? Object display. You can change the color of these things. Now I wouldn't select changing color to like green or white, because obviously when you select these things they turn green or white. But say like this is your main root controller. I'm going to change it to a blue. It's already a blue, sorry. Why is this not changing? Weird. Hold on. Oh yeah, I was selecting the wrong one. So it's in the drawing override. Enable overrides. So this right here, Where's that pink at? So that's my root controller, and this is good for like right and left. So say I want all of these right here. Be like yellow maybe. You have to do them separately. I do wish, whenever I first learned to rig up, I learned in Max, you can kind of make this more of a piece of geometry. I do wish Maya sometimes had that ability to do that, to kind of make them more predominant, but it's probably for the better. So this is a way you can kind of customize for side to side and kind of be able to tell certain things with the color override, stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm going to end it right here for this one, and we will continue. I'm going to do one final, basically, grouping session of all the joints and everything, so you can kind of hide them, and then I'm going to bind the skin to it and kind of check my painting weights and probably do a little bit of weight painting. But the actual rig is done in terms of usable with controllers and everything being locked. So pat yourself on the back if you've made it this far and everything's kind of working like you want it to. Like I said, you can always add more if you wanted to, like different. If you have like a jaw or a nose, you can always add bones coming out for that, and its own controllers for that. Kind of the same way the attributes. A lot of people would get into blending shapes with the head, the expressions and stuff like that. So there's a lot of tutorials on that out there too. So, but this is your basic, simple robotic type character rig that you could do pretty easy and be able to pose your character up anyway. So, okay, so we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.